Welcome to episode number 124 of the BEBC
BS Podcast. Doesn't it just, what a beatdown the announcer last night?
You know, we've talked about stadium announcers before.
We've talked about this stadium announcer before.
They've got their shtick.
It's just like, why do you have to make it about you?
That's what you said last year when we were talking about this announcer.
Why do you have to repeat yourself?
Well, there's a point when he got his feelings hurt because we didn't hear a word out of him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It happened last year, too. He's a homer.
Got to that middle of the fourth quarter and was like, this isn't going well, so we don't need to be doing.
Yeah, I think we did a fill-in third down when Rock Hill had a third down.
Yeah, he didn't do that when it was his team.
That was a third down at about 40.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
I mean, you can be a homer, but you got to keep that energy up all game. You get your feelings hurt like that, that's pretty lame, my man.
Yeah. So what do we have to say? Who gets the trophy last night? It's got to be Coach Hargis. Yeah, way to go, Hargis. Defense. What an exciting game. Lots of playmakers, lots of good plays, lots of discipline.
For those that don't know,
yeah,
Allen wins 44-3 over Prosper Rock Hill.
Yeah, which I don't know. That 3 points came from somewhere.
And the offense is at their fault.
Yeah, that was the offensive fault, as we were told this morning.
Yeah, we were instructed.
Yeah. 124th game in the history of Allen Eagle football. Y'all going to love this.
Oh.
Back in 1972, just like last week, we are in the 8th game of the year, 1972. Allen plays current district rival Princeton.
Okay.
And they lose 14-6. Oh,
God.
Princeton beats Allen 14-6.
So what you're saying is we've got some revenge coming, huh?
Yeah, we've got to make up for this. This loss.
This shall not stand.
You know what I'm going to do?
140-6.
What are you going to do, Mark?
The year before, in 19... Well, look at this, though. I'm just looking because I've got all these years right in front of me. This is pretty interesting because we haven't talked about it. They played Princeton...
Was it at Princeton?
It doesn't say.
In that same stadium that they have now?
They played Princeton in 1970, and they lost 30-6. They played Princeton in 1971, and it was a 0-0 tie.
Wow.
And in 1972, this 124th game, they lost 14-6 to fall to 5-3 on the year and 2-1 in district. Wow. So, yeah, we've got revenge on our minds here.
So, basically, the bar is they've got to score more than 6 points against
to make
Princeton.
it successful.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to do this before next week and go back and look at the history, how many times Allen has played Princeton, because it looks like, just looking at this, that Princeton owes the series edge.
Probably do.
It's one of the only teams that owns the series edge against Allen.
Well,
and if somebody wants to get the jump on Mark, well, just put it in the comments.
Yeah, feel free to do that.
Yeah,
the 124th victory in the history of Allen Eagle football occurred in 1983.
Okay.
The week before, they got their 123rd victory against Lancaster, as we spoke about last week, 40-0. This week, the next week, they played Quinlan Ford. Funny, we should.
Yeah, we were just talking about Quinlan Ford.
Alicia at Allen Cafe, our fine, funny waitress friend.
That's right, British waitress friend.
British.
Or is it Australian?
Who knows?
She can't decide.
She's got a bunch of different things going on with her, but she currently lives in Quinlan and goes to Ford. Her daughter goes to Ford, and so
plays in the band clarinet.
And
the question band, are you single?
For real. Allen plays Quinlan Ford to the tune of a 40-0 victory.
That's pretty resounding.
Wow.
Yeah. You got to remember this team went 10-0, so.
Ooh, yeah, that's right.
Until the playoffs, man, I'm about to sneeze. So sorry, folks. So there you go, 40-0. Excuse me, over Quinlan Ford, and that brings you up to date. So where do we want to begin?
We got a shout out.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. I know that it's not pleasant, but it's one of them.
Just get a little closer to the mic when you do.
Every weed in the world is in the air right now. pigweed, ragweed, everything.
Ganja.
Mooseweed, ganja. Oh, that weed's in the
Hello.
air. Yeah, as we've learned, there's a little bit of that, or was in the air. Anyways, we do have a shout out.
Yeah, we do.
Met a fine young man last night. Sat
Yep.
right behind us.
Luke, right?
Justin.
I met a Luke. I met a
the
Luke
other
last night.
Yeah, the other Luke.
So, Justin.
Justin, fine young man who is a listener. Has been a listener for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And we
Does
appreciate-
facilities at the church.
Yep. What the heck, dude? You ever played a game?
Hey,
He just won.
I got my Candy Crush.
Yeah, so Justin, thanks for listening. It was nice to meet you, and sorry you had to put up with all our shenanigans last night, but you chose to sit where you chose to sit, so
That's right.
you get what you get. So, anyhow, thanks you for listening, Justin, and we appreciate you being there. So, it was first district game.
We had all sorts of occurrences. We had some healings on the field.
Yeah,
Somebody's acquired a new nickname.
we'll get to that.
Yes, sir.
Well, we definitely need to talk about that.
A very eventful game.
It
There were
was.
some pregame predictions.
There
If you
were.
want to talk about pregame. I didn't talk to the coaches about how the prep was. I suppose we'll get with Wig and ask him how the week's prep was and if he saw anything coming or was concerned at all. But
You know, this was a team which, you know, they're still relative new school. This is what, their third year? Third or fourth year.
yeah, third solid year.
Fourth, I think.
And,
Yeah, fourth year, third solid.
you know, they lost their first game to, I think it was Colleyville Heritage. Was it Colleyville? They lost 10
Yeah,
to 7.
third.
Last week they played a 5A school in Sherman, who is not very good.
Yeah,
Very good,
and
folks.
And they beat them pretty soundly.
may
And
have
so-
gotten a little false sense of confidence. But
Yeah, you
That's
know,
good.
As we mentioned last week, Allen's kind of entering a stretch where, you know, the competition isn't to the level of what we thought Midland Legacy was going to be. We knew Cedar Hill was,
right.
or we thought Cedar Hill
But
was.
your competition becomes yourself, and how good were you last week, and can you be as good or better? And I think I'd mentioned it before the game. You kind of worry when you have two really in sync games, and everything seems to be clicking and things working out. You wonder when's something going to fall off. When are things going to
Yep.
challenge? Right? Life gives you challenges.
And I think they ran into a few of those last night. And I listed a
They
bunch
did.
here that we're going to just run by week, because if you didn't go to the game and you didn't listen and you pick up what's not in the paper this morning, but you just look
You
at
would
the score,
you would not get a sense for that.
you
Yeah.
think, oh, 44-3, they must have just manhandled them.
Yeah.
And by a score they did, but when you look, especially on the offensive side of the ball from last night,
Mm-hmm.
there's some hiccups they need to get
Pick
ironed
up
out.
some lucky breaks for sure.
Yeah, there were some things that happened, that timely penalties on Rock Hill that saved a turnover or something.
Yeah.
Just there were, and again, I want to talk to Wig about him, so I don't want to throw him out here. Just see what because he's a coach, and just like we thought
Wait,
they
what?
played.
He's a coach?
He's a coach, believe it or not. So
He's
he
the-
looks at it
the
differently
coach.
than we do.
Yes.
So even though we look at Midland Legacy game, we look at Cedar Hill game, and we see really good performance. I know when they go in and dissect the film and look at it, they're going to see things that they needed to work on.
Yeah,
This week, it became very obvious to us that there's some things they need to work on.
And what those things were too.
Yeah.
Well, and here's one of the things that I don't know that I'm concerned about, but you think about when you want people to perform, do you encourage the appropriate behavior and the positive aspects, or do you focus on the negative things to try and clean those up?
Yeah.
And statistics and studies show that if you focus on the work effort, if you focus on the positive, it draws you out of the negative. So we'll see if that happens.
Concentrate on coaching them up rather than beating them
Exactly.
down.
Yeah. Which I think a good example of that, and we'll talk more in detail, but last night on a punt, Isaac Lawson, it was a short punt, and he came running up, and he tried to field it, and he muffed it. He had a turnover.
Right.
And I was like, okay, is he going to put him back out there? Well,
Yes.
They turned around and punted, and he fair caught the next one.
Yes, he did.
And then I don't know if it was a couple punts later, a punt after that, he almost scored.
Yes, he did.
And so they gave him the opportunity to learn from his mistake.
Yeah.
And like you say, they coached him. I mean, you saw people talk to him on the sideline.
Yeah.
And, then the kid has a pick six later in the game, too. So he kind of redeemed, okay, maybe he did learn something in that moment of, uh-oh.
And so what I hear you saying is there is one of the indications of a difference between a great program and an epic top 5 program. You can be great, but you want to go to excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the factors.
You don't want to have that muff punt.
Yeah.
If you can't get to it, run away from it.
Yeah.
As opposed to try to make a play. When it was a difficult play because it was a very short kick and he had to run a long way.
I was telling him, and he just didn't hear me. And he just no, let it go. And he just ignored me. He ignored me.
That's it. Maybe he did like the Plano West basketball players did with Coach Morgan. We hear him telling him what to do, and then they don't do it.
He knows you're the mean one, so he doesn't listen to you.
That's true.
The mean one.
Oh,
We
my
saw how
gosh.
that went.
Yeah.
So you do wonder, and again, because we do it in our minds too.
Yeah.
The kids are no different. They're Rock Hill's trash. We're just going to beat them, and so they think they can just go out there, and it's just going to happen. But it still requires the work. It still requires you to do your job.
Yeah.
Do your job efficiently, and then things will happen. And again, we're talking about a 44-3 victory.
I was going to say, there's not a lot of evidence that they can't screw around and still beat that team.
Yeah,
because we just watched it happen.
But
you shouldn't screw around. But.
You don't want that to happen at any point in this. From a coaching perspective, you want that perfection, and you're not going to get perfection every game.
Right.
But last night was pretty sloppy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When I go back and think about things, and you're just like, you get frustrated with stuff, and it's just like, what in the world's going on tonight?
When you just do the general observations, the offensive line was having some trouble, keeping their blitz out, and they were changing it up, switching that number 6 from side to side, and it was just a tough night, and getting the snap, right, and
there was a list of things. Like I said, I wrote a list down, and we'll see. And Wig sees all of them. I mean, they're reviewing film this morning, and they'll see every one of those, and hopefully they work on them because that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, it's a win for Allen. Go to 1-0 in district. I guess we got a few minutes here before Wig gets on. We could go around the district last night.
Sure.
McKinney played Plano.
Heartbreaker for your Plano.
For your Key Cats.
Key Cats.
Kitty Cats lose to the Lions 28-26. We talked a little bit about this. I haven't seen the stats or anything on this game yet, but the question is, because I thought McKinney would handle Plano pretty easily. So the question is, has McKinney come down? Has Plano gone up?
Right. What were the dynamics?
Yeah. What do we really know about either one of those teams just from a 10,000-foot level view there? Because that game has not been competitive in past years. McKinney's been kind of the guaranteed third spot in the district, and it seems like they struggled a little bit with a Plano team, which I didn't think was going to be very good. So, Plano East continues to win. They beat the aforementioned Princeton 44-21, and then McKinney Boyd and Plano West.
Yeah, McKinney Boyd went off.
45-10, Boyd wins. We were talking about this on the way home last night. They scored 56 in their first game. They scored 45 last night, and they actually lost last week. But I was thinking, man, they've probably scored just as many points in 3 games that they've scored all last year. So good for McKinney Boyd. Find some offense down there. Now again, their competition's not the upper echelon teams,
but I hear they got a real good cheer squad. So
do they?
Yeah.
Boyd or West?
West.
Oh, they do. One of our nice young friends, Miss Kaylee Schrader, is heading up that program now, and they are doing fantastic. So Boyd Plano East, Allen, and McKinney all sit at 1-0 in district. Prosper was off last night. That was their bye week. So they'll jump in the fray next week. I don't have next week's schedule. Other than I know it's homecoming next week.
Oh.
So
Nice.
get your moms now.
Mommy.
Get your moms, get your date for the dance, whatever y'all do these days.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a HOCO invite.
A HOCO invite. You'll see all those on Facebook this week.
Yeah.
These HOCO invites. So it is 9:15, which means it's time to call Coach. See if he answers on how many ringy dingies.
Is he going to be upbeat?
We'll see.
Hello.
Good morning, Coach. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing fine. Congrats on another win.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll dig into the game here in a second, but I had a thought this morning, which
Okay.
Rarely happens, but, it does.
just for informational purposes. For example, on an away game like this, what is your night and morning? What does it look like? So what time do you get to bed? What time do you get up? What does all that happen after a home or away game like that?
Well, I don't have no idea what time it was. We get home and then we have stations all set up to where we have coaches checking in. We have coaches down there with rosters. They're checking in. They're making sure everybody turns in a game socks, compressions, travel bags, all that stuff. Get all that put away, and when we get all that done, then kids are gone, and then coaches slip out, and then get home, get to bed whenever that is. And then come up and start grading film. That 7:30 range on Saturday mornings.
So, in other words, it's a pretty quick turnaround for you guys.
Yeah, it is, because you want to, or I don't know what people want to do, but what we're going to always do is at 10 o'clock, our kids come in at 9 for treatment, and then at 9:55, they're all going to be here, and we'll talk to them, then we're going to go down and get a lift and get some running in, and then 11 o'clock, we're watching film, so we'll have the film completely graded by then. It takes about that long to get that done, so have it graded and have them, paperwork to hand to them from their grades. Then 11 o'clock, we'll go through film with them, and on each side of the ball. Then we'll come back together at noon and go over special teams and finish up with a couple of special plays that we want them to all see and get a good taste in their mouth. Usually film, there's not going to be a ton of great taste in their mouth, so we're going to leave them with some stuff really good and get them gone, and then we'll get the kids out. Then coaches meet, and we have about a 30-minute wrap up where we go position by position, just dissecting the play of every position on the field, how we can improve it moving forward, and then move into some self-scout stuff from our performance on the night, from analytics and stuff like that, and then brief talk of our beginning touches of addressing the upcoming opponent, and slip out. That's our Saturday. That's our Friday night Saturday, I guess.
All right. Well, now people know, and I knew it was involved. I just especially on an away game, you got to travel to get back, and
yeah.
The good thing is that's as far as you got to travel, at least until playoffs this year is that one. So
True.
That's
True.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, a 44-3 victory, and we talked about it last night. We talked about it this morning, and we're going to continue to talk about it. And if you weren't at the game, or if you didn't listen, and you just see 44-3, and you can look at the box score and go, "Wow, that must have been pretty impressive," and that was a great victory. And I know you look at it differently than most people, and we talked about how this morning, from a fan's perspective, at least from our perspective, the 5 or 6 of us that get together and look at it, the Legacy game, the Cedar Hill game, you walk away and you go, that was pretty clean. That was pretty impressive. Now, I know as a coach, y'all break it down a lot further and y'all look at things differently than we do. But last night's game, we looked at it and said, okay, yeah, you won 44-3, but you saw some things. You're like, okay, I picked up on that, and I know the coaches are going to pick up on that because I just started making a list this morning. And this, again, we love the boys, and things happen, and so it's not a criticism, but it's like, you had an interception, you had a fumble, you had 9 penalties, you had a muff punt, you had center snap issues, and you had offensive line that had a tough night picking up blitzes, and that's stuff that showed up that you're like, okay, they got a lot to work on.
Yeah, well, yeah, and yes, all of those things, but it's no different, like you said, than the first 2 weeks. It's just it's different opponents. This team in Prosper, they run the same defense, and it's very, very, very tough on offensive football teams. You know what they do? They're gonna overload you. They're gonna overload you last second. They're always gonna have more than you can block coming at you, and it's overwhelming. Not that they played a Sherman team. I don't know anything about Sherman. I don't know any. I'm not going to say any. I don't know anything about them. But I know that they thought they were pretty good football team, and Rock Hill. I don't know I can't remember now the score. I think it's
43-7.
Yeah, 43-7. It's just a hard. It's a hard defense for teams to go against. Now Sherman might not score a point the rest of the year. I don't know that. So again, I don't know what we're talking about. But it's just a hard front to go against. They live and die on getting you behind the chains. And in high school football, when you get behind the chains, you rarely get back within the chains. And that's just something that defense does, very disruptive. So it's a game that you probably, and for us at this stage of our season, you certainly hope that you're clean and play well every game. But if you as coaches, we went into it thinking that we weren't going to turn people loose, then we would have been incredibly naive. That there's again other things outside of that it's again kids making plays and things happening that they're humans and they're not going to be perfect all the time. But we were late on a pass that resulted in an interception. He wishes he could have that back and do it 1,000 times over, but just hung on a read and didn't get off to the next thing. But if he delivers on time, it's good. Play before that, we miss a ball a little high. But that was disappointing. It was, again, it would have been an 18, 25-yard gain or something like that. But those were 2 passes that we wish we had back offensively. We got down around the red zone and had the bad snaps, which really don't know what happened. The first one was a horrible snap, and then the second one just didn't feel like he had a bad snap. Just got away from him. Just I don't know. Just kind of a funk. But to me, those are things that I'm very proud of because we had 2 different quarterbacks for those bad snaps, and both of them made phenomenal plays.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the 1 yard line, and instead of what ultimately you could have been after those 2 snaps, you're all of a sudden on the 50-yard line, and we're still on the 1 yard line. Just again, humans making plays like they're going to make. They're not ever going to be perfect, but we have a couple of bad things happen, and we have guys turn that around into really good stuff to keep where you are and result in a touchdown on the drive. And then I think just obviously we got a lot of people in and doing different things, but they just did some good things in both phases. Their kicker's really, really, really good. And we want to just this time of year again, we're wanting our kids. We're gonna play ball, and we're gonna try to make plays and work. And it's good to see that first opening kickoff that went so deep. It's just tough to sustain blocks that long, and we got a good little return. But because of the sustaining them so long, we held, which we just didn't drop deep enough to where we weren't going to have to sustain the blocks as long. So again, a lot of things that the kids are just working, which fun to see is they're working so hard, and a lot of the things they're doing are, a lot of the penalties, I guess you would say, are plays that they're trying to work through the whistle, and they just got to get that fine line of knowing exactly when you can, you finish and you can let go of something. But I can live with those kind of things, because it's not that they're lazy penalties, which happens sometimes. We got a big procedure penalty. I say big. We came and got a touchdown, but a big procedure penalty. Well, it was the lineman, and he just was communicating right before the snap and got his hand down right as we're snapping the ball, so he wasn't set for a second. And so you love the communication, but that's just something, again, that can be fixed up really easily. So a lot of, again, early time in the year, a lot of things that weren't bad, on the offensive side of the ball, and we said it after Cedar Hill. I don't know if that team Cedar Hill is any good at all. I don't. I know they're big and athletic, but I don't know if they're any good at all. When we played Midland Legacy, they were awful. Awful. Now I think they're hopefully for their sake, getting some players back. But of the teams, I think that, again, Rock Hill's got a long way to go, just as Allen does. But this team presented some problems to us that probably the other two teams didn't present. While not clean, I mean, there was a lot of, there was an 85-yard drive, an 83-yard drive, a 90-yard drive.
Yeah.
Those are things that don't happen on against a team like that very often, just because they're so, again, in high school ball, they're so disruptive. It's really, really, really hard to put long drives together against them, and then they don't give up traditionally, or at least over the course of this year, haven't given up big plays very often. So there were some really, really good things that happened in the midst of some just, human things that happened.
Agreed, and that's why you win 44-3, because there were good things that happened. Yeah.
That's right.
And I don't know if you know, we had the same question to you about Cedar Hill, because they got waxed again last night.
Yeah, and that's and we said it after the game. I told our player on the team, literally on the field right after the game. I said, I don't know if that team will win another game this year, but it's a good win. It's any time early in the year. I mean, it kind of reminds me. Let's say that Alabama, Georgia play week 1. Well, all of us are going to say, oh my gosh, the biggest game of the year is happening week 1 of the season. Florida State, whoever, right? Well, then next thing you know, that team finishes 4-7, and you're like, whoa, but it was still at the moment a big game. It was still the biggest game, and that's kind of how that game was, right? Cedar Hill's 1-0, we're 1-0. Your two programs who went to the 4th round the year before, it's a big game. And I don't, by any stretch of imagination, think the Cedar Hill is going to go 3-7 or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think the jury's out on them, as it is on us. I don't know. Both teams, they took it on the chin, but just really don't know. They're in a district, like we said last week, that has Duncanville, DeSoto, Waxahachie, Lancaster, and others. But I think that they're going to be in a dogfight every week to hope to get in, and as are we. I mean, really, as we were last night. Like you said, it wasn't, you say 44-3, but just tough sledding, and which is going to be for us, I think, every week. But I like, again, the way the guys continue to make big plays. And I'm not saying big explosive plays. I'm just saying the 1-yard play on offense or the 1-yard stop on defense, just continuing to battle through and make those plays. That's the encouraging part this time of year for us.
Yeah.
Sure. And touching on one thing you said about being behind the chains, and we're going to switch over to your defense here. I did the math this morning. I know you're a math guy, so here you go.
Yeah.
They ran 47 plays last night. 22 of them went for 0 or negative yardage. So you're looking at 47% of the plays they ran gained them nothing or lost yardage.
Yeah.
And so your defense, really stood up last night. And one thing we talked about on the way home was at the stadium, because how good of a tackling team this is.
Yeah. We, and again, kind of like we've said through 3 games, is we have tackled well. Right now, are we tackling guys that will face, you back up to the scrimmage, you would not say we're a good tackling team.
Yeah.
Right? Now, does that mean we improved a ton in 3 weeks, or does it mean we're not tackling the people that we were tackling in the scrimmage? And that's what you say when you talk about, like, what is Cedar Hill right now? What is Rock Hill right now? What is Allen right now? Right? So it's just one of those things that we know and that everybody knows that watch this game is you're never really as good as you think. And when things go bad, it's probably never really as bad as I feel in the moment, And so yes, but I think that we've done a good job this year defensively. Is we're not compared to last year, we're not getting off the field as quickly, but we're keeping them out of the end zone.
Right.
Last year we were really, we led the nation probably in 3 and outs. But this year, we're kind of a bend but don't break. But either one of them are great, right? I mean, especially the way we like to play, what we want to do. Offensively, we had 9 drives last night. I mean, that's really, really, really short in the high school game.
Yeah.
You're going to average 12 drives a game, so that's almost 3 more drives for each team. That's almost another quarter. So they did, I thought, a good job of shortening the game, of trying to of keeping some drives alive on their offense, and then to flip it around, I thought our offense, when they got behind the chains, found a way to pop back within the chains. So what that does is again have both teams with few drives, and what we like is when you have a defense that's keeping them out of the end zone. You shorten it down, and then you find a way to get in there. You score 3 touchdowns, and then all of a sudden, when you play a 9-drive game, then 21 points is probably going to win most of those games. So, so that's what's exciting right now is, we're the guys that again are swarming to the ball, and they are making those plays. We hope we continue to make them. Again, what I don't know what Rock Hill will be. Are they going to be, we have a 9-team district. Are they going to be the 7th place team in the district? Or are they going to be, battling for a playoff spot? It's just hard to know, even when just what you're comparing. You get to week 12, you've seen somebody play 11 games, and you know what they are. Right now we really don't know who any of us are. But what we do know is that our Allen Eagle kids are swarming to the ball. They're playing with passion on defense. They're keeping guys out of the end zone. Offensively, they're finding a way to keep drives alive. And again, special teams. We keep guys are competing to get on the field and competing to stay on the field in those spots. And we believe that we're continuing to improve a little there throughout. So. Without knowing exactly what we are as a team, you like the progress that we're making.
Yeah, and like you said, Coach, we saw it early in the game with our running. The refs had a little bit of a snafu, and we're kind of doing an early whistle to blow a play dead that really shouldn't have been blown. And of course, the head ref kind of corrected the other guys to say, hey, look, let them play. And it proved out because our running backs kind of made their tackling look subpar. We were breaking tackles, and that's a credit to our running game and our running backs for sure. But
they did that. I thought so too. I thought they did a good job there. It's everything's a muddled mess when you play them. So you don't. It's hard for the linemen to sort out. It's hard to trust that it's going to happen. It's kind of one of those things. You just got to be patient, and then you hope there's a little crease here or there. But I thought for backs that haven't had a ton of varsity experience, that they were fairly patient and did a good job. A couple of times we bounced out into space. What I call a middle school running back, where we're trying to get it bounce out to the sideline as opposed to staying where we want to live. But again, we're getting better over the course of the game in those things.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good stuff. There really was. It was one of those things where you got to be careful in this game. Again, when you see it, I don't care if you're what level you're talking, whatever it is. It's hard to win a football game. And when you lose sight of that, or you lose sight of the joy of a win, then you've really lost touch with what it's about, right? As much as I'm a perfectionist, and I'm really talking to me, but as much as I'm a perfectionist, you walk up the field last night and you win that game 6-3, you're jumping for joy. I mean, it's a district ball game. You're 1-0. You won on the road, and you're fired up beyond belief because you won a game. And it's just what I live my life is. It's not about that. It's about if we had 100 last night in the range of 150 snaps between offense, defense, special teams, which again is a really light night, then I want to win 150 plays. That's what drives me. That's what I'm consumed with, and that's why I'm talking to myself when I say that, it's okay at the end of the night to wash that slate clean and say, okay, what was the scoreboard like? Because I don't focus on that scoreboard at any point during the game. It's about winning each and every one of those plays. So we won the overwhelming majority, which was pleasant, and now we will be working diligently to win the rest of those.
Yeah, and when you put together a 21 play drive, that's got to have some some negative things that happen, but then you say, oh well, Allen just got lucky, and I think in a lot of senses we make our own luck, and it's how the kids approach it that helps them to be lucky, and you make your own luck.
Yeah, and I do agree with that. That's what preparation is. I mean, when you're preparing for, just go back to the bad snaps, right? I mean, it's football IQ. Those aren't things that you're born with, right? Those are things that you work on. Those are things that you prepare for the worst and expect the best. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, you have those long drives, and have a little technical thing here or there that we do that is ugly along the way. That again, you're lucky that you're still alive and you're still driving and still have opportunities. But like you said, that luck is a lot of times created by either their preparation on the front end or the way they're hustling and competing on the back end. But yeah, to go a drive, 90-yard drive. I mean, that's you're not going to see. You don't see many of those over the course of a year. You just don't. And it's tough, especially against that team. They won't ever have to give up another one this year. It's just them and Prosper. Well, it's just hard to do. Again, in the midst of just ugly stuff, we can lose sight of is 11 guys out there really, really, really getting after it.
Oh yeah. Well, and for the record, Coach, there was 1 second left on the clock at halftime, right before halftime. You should have got that.
Well, the guy on our sideline was really, really, it went 0, and I looked at him. He says, Coach, you got a second. So we put field goal out there, and they overran it, and he went up to him, and they said no, and I said something to him, and he was so mad at the rest of the crew. But the white hat said that the side judge, which is the guy that was on their side, back judge, he said that's only one person on their crew schematically has that call. And he's the guy, and he said it was at 0. And I said, it's not something we talk about as a crew. He said, unfortunately, no, this one person is responsible for the clock if there's a discrepancy. So,
well, I can tell you from our perspective, because we had time to watch the play, watch him go out of bounds, and then look up. And when we looked up, there was still a second. So he missed that call, but that's,
well, neither and the thing about it is that there shouldn't be a second on the road, right?
There you go.
If there is, they need to be getting a new clock keeper.
Well, we've already decided they need a new PA guy, but that's a whole other story. So.
Well, I don't hear those, but but I thought for home crowd, well done, clock guy.
Yeah, for real. Let's hope ours work as well. All right, Coach, you went 4-1 last week. The only loss that you had was Iowa State upsetting Iowa. So
dadgummit.
Good. Yeah. A good week for you. You are 7-3 for the year. If you were in Vegas, you'd be in the money. So that's good.
Yeah, I probably would have put a lot more on the 3 that I lost.
Yeah, you probably would have. All right. It's another week where there's not a whole lot of marquee matchups, so you just have to bear with us. But Alabama's going to go on the road up north, which they never do, And they're going to play Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Cheeseheads.
I haven't got to watch either of those teams this year, but Wisconsin much at all. But I don't. I mean, I'm just secretly really pulling for Alabama. You know, I think following Saban is impossible. I mean, you can't win in that scenario. No matter what, you could win 5 national championships and you're still they're just waiting for you to mess up what he created. But I think he has a shot. I think he's a really good ball coach, and so I'm just going to pick Bama just because I'm sure they're still talented and pulling for him.
All right. LSU and Mr. Kelly, who's so mad at this player that he's banging on the podium at the they go to South Carolina.
Yeah. I like LSU in that. Again, not seeing them either of those teams, but I feel like that LSU ought to be pretty good this year.
Yep. Number 20, here's the only really ranked opponent game. Number 24, Boston College goes to number 6 now, Missouri. You know, Theo Weiss had 12 catches last week. Big game for him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't know he had that many catches.
Yeah, he had a big week. Yeah, it was 12 or 14, one of the two.
Yeah, well, I'll take Theo and Mizzou.
All right.
There you go.
I don't remember what they call this, but Oregon is at Oregon State. And Oregon hasn't really been impressive like I thought they would.
Who would have thought that's a game, you know?
Yep.
That's, you know, you go back to like what we're talking about, you know, is that's one that when you're looking at, you're not saying it's going to be a big game, and now all of a sudden it is. But I think Oregon will kind of figure some stuff out and find a way to win that game.
Okay. And the last one, which is 2 teams that I just can't stand, but we're going to do it anyways. A&M's traveling to Florida.
Yeah, I'll take A&M in that. You know, I think.
Oh man.
I saw something that their quarterback might be banged up, but
he is.
I think Florida was playing the true freshman quarterback maybe last week also.
Yep.
So,
now they played a patsy last week, but they did well. But he's a talented kid. He's a Texas kid.
And speaking of freshmen, maybe we should get Josiah's picks, and you know he's going to pick Florida.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's got family down there. All right, Coach, we'll see how you do. Homecoming this week, Plano.
Get your mums ready.
We got our mums. We got our dates. We're good to go.
Yeah, good. Well, appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great weekend again. I really am proud of these guys and this football team. You know, you really when you say, you know, what we want to do as coaches and what we want to do as players, as team, is get better each week, and what they're going to do, and I can promise you at 9:55, they're going to show up, and they're going to be they're going to understand they won a game, but they're going to show up and they're going to be hungry, and that's what's fun. You know, is them wanting to do it for themselves, for their family, for the football family, but to continue to get better and represent this community in a first class way. So really proud of what they're doing.
We're really proud of you and the coaches and the team all together. It's, the effort being put forth is just awesome, and we thank you very much for it.
Well, thank you for saying that. And it is these guys, the coaches, they do work incredibly hard, you know, at the game, but they also invest a ton into these kids, and they're wonderful at what they do. They just for me, it's a blessing just to be around both these kids and these coaches as much as I am. So,
yeah, well, you
thank
tell
y'all.
Yeah, you tell Hargis that if he needs the BEBC sod installation crew today, we're available. So let us know.
I'll tell him, and told the team last night how cool it was that the defense won the game 7-3, 6-3, I guess, because I think we might have missed that extra point. But but anyway, that's cool. That doesn't happen very often in any game. So yeah, y'all have a good day.
You too.
Thanks,
Talk to you later.
Bye.
So you were talking earlier about games this next week. McKinney has a bye this week.
Okay.
Plano is at Allen, East is at West, Prosper at Boyd, and Rock Hill at Princeton.
Yeah, East is going to destroy West.
Yeah.
Rock Hill, I bet you they beat Princeton.
I would think so.
I'm going to go with Rock Hill. Who else? Let's see, Plano, Allen. How's that game?
Who's Prosper play?
Boyd.
Prosper will be Boyd.
Ooh, you think?
Yes.
You said that like you're all knowing. Gosh.
I'm all knowing in that game, and I bet Boyd goes back to scoring 7 points or whatever. They won't do very well.
They won't do the 41.
No,
Yeah.
they won't have 45 or 56. So that was a half an hour with him today. He was
All
chatty
good things
this
went in.
morning.
Yeah.
Chatty Cathy,
think?
baby. He had a lot to say.
Yeah.
I think I might have pushed his button a little bit. I don't know about you got some things to work on, and he kind of stepped up and
I think he agreed.
well, I think he agreed, but he also wanted to point out
Yeah.
a lot of the positives that happened.
Yeah.
And there were a
Oh
lot.
my
Again,
God,
you
yeah.
win 44-3. There are a lot of positives, and we'll talk about some of them here. But
And that goes right along with the way they coached up the, what was his name?
Isaac.
Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After
You
that muff,
muff that
and
punt
stuff like that.
and-
Just talk to him instead of beat him down and
Get back up on the horse and,
Let it-
and keep going.
put him back out there for an opportunity. And he
Paid off.
yeah, big time.
it did. 44-3, the final. First downs, Allen 22. And again, this is a defensive-intensive game for the most part.
Yeah.
Rock Hill only had 8 first downs. Total yards, Allen 384, which is a little bit low for them. I like the term he used, muddled mess. That to me
it was a muddled mess.
is a great description of
Yeah.
this game. And you came out on the right side of it, but it was a muddled mess. 384 yards for Allen, 103 for Rock Hill. And as I mentioned, I went to 22 out of 47 plays were 0 or negative yardage. And that defense is something special. 51 yards passing for them on 10 completions, so they only averaged 5 yards of completion.
Yeah, 19 passes, 52 run plays.
Yep.
So, it's
Yeah, when you look at 2.68 yards per pass, because they do it by total number of attempts.
yeah.
Allen had 201 yards passing, 1 interception for each team. Allen had 183 yards rushing. Rock Hill only had 52, and again, with so many negative plays, those numbers are just really, really skewed.
Yeah.
The 9 penalties, they were sort of just scattered throughout the game. Like you said, they had 1 on the kickoff. They had I don't know. They had 1 late hit penalty. It's just ugh.
Odd.
Yeah, 3 turnovers by Rock Hill. Allen had the 1 interception. We did have a fumble
Right.
that was overturned by an offsides penalty, which was lucky for us.
Right. Divine intervention.
Yep.
There was a lot of divine intervention.
Yep. Brady was 13-19, 68%, which is what about he is
Right.
for the year.
Slightly better than Nate.
Yeah. Well, Nate was 2 of 3, and Nate got his touchdown. We talked to Nate last week because Nate had one play where he was rolling to the right. He had his guy on the flat open, and he didn't throw it.
Yeah.
And I called him after the game. I said, dude, that guy was open. You just got to throw it. And he goes, And I said, dude, watch the film. He was wide open. Well, I think it was the same play or something very similar last night when they rolled the tight end out, and he saw him. And Hayden Keys, my buddy Hayden, got himself a touchdown.
Way to go, man.
That was good. Rushing leaders, Lyndon Spriggs, 13 carries. Hambert, 11 carries. They both averaged over 5 yards a carry.
Second efforts.
Yeah, about 35.
Huge
Third
second
and
effort.
fourth and fifth
Yeah.
efforts.
Mr. Spriggs is about as slippery a back as I've seen in a long time. He's got some moves to him.
Yeah.
He gets in the muddled mess and he squirts around and gets an extra 2, 3, 4 yards just by the way he moves within there.
Yeah.
It's pretty. And Hambert just wants to hit you. Jaden just wants to run you over. Jackson Lyons came up from JV and got some carries late in the game, so it was good to see him back.
Yeah.
So that was good. Receiving wise, 2 weeks in a row,
I know.
we talk about Mr. Harris, Carter Harris.
Clutch plays. I mean, only 2 receptions, but dang, 74 yards. So he's averaging 37 yards per reception.
And they
Got his TD. That was nice.
Yeah.
And the passes up and across the middle. Now,
Yeah.
my game. I love that.
We love a little bit more downfield type of play.
And we're going to take a stop here for a moment because I want to talk about, because we've got 4 years to talk about this individual.
Yeah.
And why are we stopping now?
Because we're gonna be on the record.
This is a bookmark
as to saying, watch this guy.
Yeah.
And we've talked about him because he's been in every game and he's made an impact in every game. But Josiah Johnson, freshman, number 84.
Yep.
Led the team with 4 catches, 69 yards, and will catch anything. He had a diving catch last night on an in route, and you get him on the outside. He's very fast. You said he was a baseball player as well.
Yep.
You know, he's kind of taken over the role that Jet played, with Jet being out for the year, and has just stepped up. And anytime the ball goes his way, you get excited because before the season's over, you're going to have a 70, 80, 90-yard touchdown from that kid. It's just a matter of time. Now, he had, in the legacy game, he had a 40-yarder or 35-yard touchdown catch.
Yeah.
But he's a freshman.
Right.
And he's going to do nothing but get better. And just watching him, I really like him. I think there's a lot to be.
He plays with a lot of control. I don't want to say humility necessarily, but it's somewhat understated excellence. I don't know. I mean, he's bringing an intangible to the team, and I think it helps in the overall scheme of things for sure.
Got to give a shout out to our buddy Dustin Kelson. They finally threw to him last night. You know, the poor tight ends don't get a whole lot of activity in it, but he got him one. So good.
Well, and there's a lot of stuff that you don't normally see, like QB under center.
Look at that.
You guys are like, oh my God, QB's under center. What's going on?
So statistically speaking, the game sort of reflects the score. I find it interesting. Coach said he never looked at the score, which.
Speaking of score, 3 games into the season, 3-0, 157 for and 17 against. It's pretty good.
And so we're averaging what? Who calculates 6.7?
Little less than 6 points a game given up.
Yeah.
Because they'd have to get 18.
5.7 points per game,
so,
something like that.
Again,
wow.
Coach Hargis, way to have your guys.
Yeah.
You know, and before we get into the play-by-play, let's just stop down here and talk about that defense last night. And I didn't say it on here, but the team speed on the defense,
it's a swarming defense.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, and you just look last night and you look at all the people that you saw
ganging up.
You know, you start with Wafer.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Japri is. I don't know whether Coach let him off the hook or what, but he was run amok, man.
And he does it every week, you know, and he showed up a couple times, one on a screen pass that they thought they had something.
Oh, 33 goes after the quarterback. He tosses it out to the running back, and boom!
Loud. And you're like, oh, and he had a couple of hits like that last night.
Yeah,
you know?
watch RJ. RJ's got a really good
Mitchell
video
New
of that.
had another great night, you know, playing that linebacker position. And
number 1, Mitchell New. Yeah. That number change is what did it, I think.
Yeah, that's good to be it. Well, and I'm happy for him because he's wearing that. There's an expectation, and he's delivering.
Right.
You know, he's wearing the number proudly.
Yeah.
And we had talked to Hargis a couple of weeks ago after the Legacy game, where if you remember, they were turning Don Quist, number 6, loose to rush the passer, and he had a couple sacks and pressures. He said, "We're going to do it. We're going to do it." Well, last week they didn't turn him loose at all. He didn't come once. Well, he came last night.
Yeah, he did.
And we had one angle where he was on our side.
Oh, it's
right to the court. You could just see it coming. The train was coming. There was something on the tracks, and you're like, "Oh no, it's going to be bad."
It's like a 100-yard dash. You know, track start. He's ready. He's going.
And just a good night for him. And then we talked about this at breakfast this morning, and we've got to do nickname for a player, and we'll get to that in a minute. But LeBron Bauer, you know,
passionate.
The kid has so much passion, and he's really good at his craft. And we've often talked about, you know, the Deion Sanders of cornerbacks that can cover well, but they don't want to tackle.
Right.
You know, that ain't LeBron.
No.
LeBron will stick his head anywhere, you know, and he did. And last night, holy moly. that poor receiver got hit right in the midsection by LeBron.
Ouch.
Down he goes, and LeBron walks away as he should, and the kid's on the ground and the training staff's working on him, and
He doesn't even want to roll.
He's
over.
not moving.
Just,
He's just staying there. Yeah.
And we talked to Doc. We saw Doc at breakfast this morning, and the kid just had the wind knocked out of him, so that was good. It wasn't anything serious, but he couldn't breathe. But what Doc said, you thought he'd been shot. It's the way he was rolling around. But it hurt. He got hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Well, LeBron goes over.
Kneels down, squats down,
and and he holds the kid's hand, and I think he prayed with him. I really think that's what happened.
Yeah.
And so, right after he did that, the kid rolls over and pops right up, and Cody here goes.
He healed him.
He healed him.
He's been healed.
He's been healed. He wasn't going to get up. LeBron goes over, holds his hand, prays with him, and the kid pops right up.
And so, what's LeBron's new nickname?
The Deacon. He's a healer.
Yeah.
And later, they had LeBron playing on the edge on the punt return team.
Yes, they did.
And
he was a bullet toward the kicker, man.
He got himself one.
He was so targeted. Yeah, watch insert highlight here, but watch. He's absolutely fearlessly diving straight for that foot, right where the ball's coming off, which is
that's where he's supposed to go.
Exactly.
He does it to perfection, and I thought he was going to have a couple more. And in fact, one he went, and the kicker ran around him.
Yeah, I thought he was going to roll that kicker.
Yeah, because the kicker's like, oh, he's there. He's going to get it again. And so LeBron, man, way to lead by example, because I think I think he's the leader of that defense. And the way he plays, and the attitude that he carries, and
communication has got to be getting better, because we saw it from last year to this year, and then as the season goes on, I think he's getting more mature, and it's paying off.
Yeah. Well, and
let's hope.
Kai Wheaton's over on that other corner as a starter, and you don't hear a lot from those two. And so it's like most of the passing is not to the outside that you've seen so far this year. It's been in the middle because they're staying away from those guys.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. But that defense...
When they had some passes out to the flat that got them around the corner, but defense really held them.
Yep.
And very encouraging.
Very encouraging. Love the speed on the defense, and love the way that Hargis is coaching them up. And Gonzo, let me tell you, brother.
Get more excited.
I tell you, that coach is so wound up. He is wound so tight. He can be like a rubber band and blow.
But that's good.
One day.
I mean, that's good. He gets it out of his system.
It's really cool to watch. So good for him. Allen wins the toss to first, kicks off. Rock Hill has to punt. Then Allen goes.
Yep. 7 yards. Allen goes 7 plays. Touchdown pass.
7 plays, 85 yards. Brady's pass to Carter Harris, 58 yards. I had reminiscent of Cole Carter against Southlake.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of right up
on
the
that
middle.
skinny post or that seam route.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
2 of them.
And Allen strikes first to go up 7-0. Rock Hill gets the ball back. They hold the ball 14 plays.
Yeah.
It's like Coach was saying.
Well, they had some good breaks. There were some negative plays, but they had some good plays that drove down the field.
They get to the 35 of Allen. They have 4th and 10, or 33 of Allen. At 4th and 10, they only get 7. Allen gets the ball back, and this is where the interception occurs. And from my viewpoint on that, I was telling everybody here that Brady had so much time back there. I think his internal clock was going off saying, okay, I've held the ball for 4 seconds. I got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And he threw into the double coverage over there, and it got picked. And Rock Hill gets a field goal out of that because they had like a 27-yard return on the interception. So it's 7-3. Allen gets the ball, goes 13 plays, 73 yards. That was the situation he was talking about. And their kicker was good. That guy had a leg on him. Money, man.
Yeah.
Donnell took the kickoff, and then they had a penalty, and so they started from their own 17. And
that was the penalty drive right there, because between us and Rock Hill, there was a lot of penalties.
Yeah.
Kept the drive going, but
Jaden Hambrick gets a 3-yard touchdown run. Allen goes up 14-3.
Play clock never started.
Rock Hill has to punt. Allen gets the ball back. That is where the punt was blocked.
right.
That's where it's very confusing because the Dallas Morning News doesn't know that Jet's out for the year, and they keep labeling number 3 as
Jet.
Jet. And it's not. It's Isaac Lawson, and we'll talk about here in a minute. They get the ball. They go 10 plays, 36 yards, and on 4th and goal at the 1, Brett Holloway gets a touchdown. And there's a penalty on the extra point that
Allows us to rerun it.
yeah, and Lyndon
they ran
Spriggs,
it.
yeah, takes it in. Rock Hill again has to punt. You get to halftime. Started the
22 to
third
3 at
quarter.
halftime. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I turned to Cody and he goes, "What do you want to see the second half?" I said,
yeah.
"Well, I want to see 14 points in the third quarter." 'Cause, and
You
then
got
I want to see
nothing.
a lot of backups in, just to give this team needs to build depth and experience, and that's
Yeah.
what I want. Well, nobody scores in the third quarter. You're like, seriously? So
Big
Got about
goose egg.
14 plays in the third quarter.
yeah, it just was like, golly, it's like, give me a break. Like I just wanted something. And there were only 2 drives in that quarter.
Yeah, we had a turnover on downs and
A lot of bad things.
yeah.
But Allen gets the ball back, starting the fourth quarter. They go 90 yards on 21 plays. And again, that's a lot of 1 yard, 9 yard, 1 yard penalty. You
Yeah.
know, we overcame a 15-yard penalty. What was that, tripping?
Yeah.
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 After the play.
Hadn't heard
After
that
the
one.
play.
Hadn't heard that one.
Yeah. Way to go.
Weird ref crew.
Yeah.
That's why they were in such a hurry to get off the field last night.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, finally the third quarter ends,
It does end.
and we get the touchdown.
Lyndon gets a 1 yard touchdown run to
Yeah.
make it 28-3.
Well, now that was the one where Brady had scrambled, and we thought he got in because he fell on top of the guy
Yep.
and kind of rolled into the end zone, but they said no, he was down.
That was actually
We'll have to
Lyndon.
look.
That was Lyndon that got down.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
there was one.
we
Which
thought he
series
went
was
over.
the one that Brady tried to run in?
A
We'll
little later.
catch it.
Rock Hill gets the ball back, and I missed this play, so I'm anxious to see it. I looked up and I saw LeBron wasn't on the field, so I was like, "Is he okay?" So I was looking on the sideline, looking for LeBron, and the next thing I know, everybody's cheering around me.
Yeah. Oh, Isaac lost it. The dude threw the pass directly to Isaac.
Yep.
I mean, Isaac is coming up on coverage. It's a pass out to the flat, about a 10-yard pass out to the flat, and Isaac just on a full gallop, ball right in his gut, goes past the kid. The kid didn't even touch him. He couldn't react fast
It was
enough.
about a 5-mile-an-hour throw, and then the wide receiver just kind of stood there and watched it happen. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess this is inevitable.
Yeah.
And we talked about Isaac amongst ourselves, but it's one of those situations where Isaac's our punt returner now, number 3, and he had a situation last night where he muffed a punt.
Right. Got a little aggressive, thinking he had to get in there and make the play.
Yeah, he had to run a long way for it, and he should have just let it go. And I looked, I was like, "Ugh, am I going to let him back out there?"
Yeah.
And they let him back out there for the next punt, and I can't remember if he fair caught it. And I think he fair caught it.
Yeah,
and it was
he
good.
did.
And then, later in the game, he gets the opportunity,
Right.
and you're like, now I see why he's out there, because I don't remember how far he went on. I have to look here as we get through this, but he went a long way.
What, the interception?
No,
No.
the punt return that he
Oh,
got.
yeah.
Oh, here it is, 45 yards.
Yeah.
So after the interception, Rock Hill punted after 5 plays. When they punted, he returned it 45 yards down to the 7-yard line.
That's impressive.
And the punter grabbed his undershirt, the white shirt, and you can see it stretch out. And
You'll see it on the video, yeah.
I thought he was going to make it, but that held him up enough for somebody else to
Just
get there.
enough.
He gets down to the 7. Nate Winger's in now.
Yep.
As Bricker's done for the night. And, Nate completes a 2-yard pass to Hayden Keys. Those guys are good friends, and so congrats to them.
Yeah,
Nate
celebration.
getting his first touchdown pass and Hayden getting one. Makes it 41-3. Allen gets a field goal a little later.
Yeah. 42-yarder, something like that.
Ethan Bowman goes 41 yards.
Yeah,
Talked to his
41
mom at halftime, just and she goes, "Oh, I thought he was going to get a chance because that was going to be about a 50-yarder."
With that 1 second left, yeah, closer.
A 50-yarder, and she said he'd been making them from 52 into the wind the day before practice.
Nice.
So they were prepared for that. Now, he'll get a chance before the year's over to do that.
Oh yeah.
That makes it 44-3, which is the final. And congrats to the Eagles to go 1-0 in District, 3-0 for the year. I found it interesting. Coach said that we still don't know what kind of team we are. I was like, that's an interesting comment. But you're a 3-0 team. You're 1-0 in District, and you got homecoming next week.
Well, I suppose that that statement kind of begs the question: well, who do you want to be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not where you want to be, and what do you want to be?
Or do you let them find their own identity? How much of that is?
I know this team can play defense.
Oh yeah,
and that's the one thing that I look at and go, and everybody says it, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but everybody says it. They say defense wins championships.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at DeSoto and North Crowley last week, and they
offense
57-53 or whatever it was, and they Arlington Martin played. I don't remember who they played last night. Was it Mansfield?
Mansfield.
And it's 63-53, and you look at that and if you don't let the other team score, like he said, the defense won the game last night.
Yeah.
And if your defense can hold people to where we're averaging less than 6 points a game, you got an awful lot of chance to win. Now, are they going to hold a North Crowley to 6 points?
No.
Probably not. But you know what? They're going to have times if they get to that point where they play North Crowley. That North Crowley is not. They're going to be frustrated by it.
Well, and North Crowley's not going to be scoring on every series.
That's the thing, and that they're used to that.
They'll be able to drive, kind of like Rock Hill drove.
So how do you adjust to the fact that you're not scoring on every series like you're used to?
Right.
Start taking risks.
Yeah. So things can happen. So I'm really proud of this defense. I tell Argus all the time.
And like David said, proud of the coaches. The coaches are kind of where it starts.
Yep.
If they're taking the right attitude, if that transfers over to the kids, if they've got the kids working on the right things, the payoff happens. We saw that definitely with the defense.
Yeah. If your defense is going to play like that, and it's going to give your offense the opportunity, to not don't it puts a lot less pressure on your offense to have to score 57 points.
Yeah.
When you're not giving up that. Now, they're going to have some times they're going to be challenged during the rest of the season, and we'll see that, and we'll see how they react to it. But I got a lot of confidence in this team right now, to continue this streak, at least as they run through the regular season and district play. They're going to be tough to beat. They're going to be a tough out for anybody. So we'll see how it goes. Homecoming next week, 7 o'clock, Eagle Stadium, Plano.
Okay.
I wanted to give a shout-out to Randy Bridges. For those of you that haven't seen this, Randy printed a book. And it's the 2017
championship
season. Year of all his Tuffy tunes. And it's pretty neat. He put them all together in a book. And I know he didn't print that many of them, but he said if you want one, and Randy, I'm going to put you on the spot here because maybe you don't want me to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. He'll get it ordered for you. It does cost money. He's not making any money on it, but if you want one, he'll tell you how much it costs. It's a pretty cool, neat look back at 2017. Yeah. He's got all the scores of every game. But yeah, for those of you that don't know, he puts these out.
Tuffy tunes.
Yeah, Tuffy tunes. But he doesn't have the score in, and then he goes back after the game and he puts the score in. and he has all those saved. And so this is a pretty neat artistic look at Randy and the great work that he does. We beat Geyer that year 45-7.
I like that.
Pretty awesome, and that was the year we beat Lake Travis in the finals. In a very good game. And
Hudson Card sighting.
Yeah, Hudson Card.
As a sophomore.
That's right. Wishing he wasn't playing quarterback that day.
Yeah.
But anyhow, shout out to Randy. It's really cool, and he gave us one, and we're going to have that here. And I'm pretty excited about that.
And we've got his posters up there.
It's everybody's got a Randy poster somewhere in their lives. So.
Or should have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, another victory for the Eagles. Well, again, played Plano. The Kitty Cats were back in with the Plano schools, and here's our first one this week.
We'll have our tub of cat litter at the tailgate.
We'll bring the litter box. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
You might just have to do that.
Well, either that or we need a Bluetooth speaker with a little kitty cat. When they play their cat growl thing.
Here, Nolan. Here, kitty.
Oh, that's what we need to do. We need to get Nolan to record that and then play it over the loudspeaker.
We'll see. Back in the friendly confines of Eagle Stadium next week. So, anything else, fellas? Congrats on Texas. Hook 'em. Great win last week. That was awesome. You guys, Texas Tech Ray, what's going on out there with the old defense?
I'm going to have a little conversation with Joey and see what's going on. I think he needs a new DC.
They got North Texas this week, which I'm not saying...
It's not a cakewalk.
Well, if Abilene
That's
Christian
what I'm
wasn't a
worried.
cakewalk...
Yeah, I know.
North Texas is 2-0, and our buddy Q's playing safety for them now, and we'll see what happens in Lubbock tonight. But
yeah, if anybody didn't know the story, we'll talk about it sometime. Come by the tailgate.
Yeah,
we got
come
lots
see
of
us next
stories.
week. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So
Yeah.
anyhow, appreciate y'all listening. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button below.
Give us a shout out.
be sure-
Social media.
Yeah, be sure
Comments.
to, subscribe to the old coach at YouTube.
Yeah.
If you want
Feel free to suggest your plays.
Yeah.
Coaches will never listen to it, but that's all right. You'll feel better.
Exactly. So until next time, people, it's over and we are out.
Go Eagles.
Peace.
So close.